Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for my continued followers, I'd like to say thank you. And I always like to come up with interesting stories that are taking place throughout our country and world that sometimes make you go, huh? And or scratch your head. And this one is a very interesting one about a 27-year-old young lady from California named Bryn Spejcher. She is accused, or had been accused, of killing her friend. She went on a date with a man, and she ended up in a cannabis-induced psychosis. She goes back to his house, and they start smoking weed together, and he was 26 years old. And then after they started smoking weed, she went into a cannabis-induced psychosis, and she ended up stabbing him and his dog 108 times. She got 3 knives out of his kitchen and commits kitchen drawer, and she commits to stabbing him and his dog over 108 times. And the kicker is, based on this, and then on the surveillance cameras, once the police got there, they discovered that she started stabbing herself. Now, the interesting thing about this story and why I'm doing it is she said, killer says weed made her stab man and dog 108 times. She gets arrested. She goes to the hospital because she started stabbing herself in the neck and all of this stuff. And when she goes in front of the court and the jury, of course, she hired a lawyer in California. It was the state of California versus Bryn Spejcher, 27, and they give her probation. She was charged with involuntary manslaughter, and the jury convicted her last month and gave her 4 years probation. Is that not amazing? If you get a DUI and go out drinking, get in your car, and have an accident and kill somebody, typically there's jail time associated with it. This young lady smokes marijuana, goes into a psychosis, she states, and then she commits to stabbing this 26-year-old man in his home 108 times, and even stabbed his dog to death. So she killed him and the dog. Everybody's state laws are different. And if this cannabis legal theory is going to be used, now that we have all of these marijuana dispensaries all throughout the country, this is going to be a very interesting legal defense moving forward. And typically in the past, historically over the last 60 years, California had very restrictive laws, especially for murder and gun charges. They had, if you remember, that they were one of the states that had death row. Then they abolished it. They had put plenty of people to death. So they went from very archaic and draconian laws that were on the books forever. And now the state of California, especially under the governor Gavin Newsom, have gone all the way. They took the pendulum from the left, very conservative, all the way to the right, where these libertarian laws allowing all types of people to commit minor crimes and not get arrested. You can steal up to $900 a day in California and Oakland and not even be detained. LA County developed a cashless bond system where if you get caught for a minor crime, and how do you define a minor crime? You can get out under your own recognizance and then come back to court 30 days later. And of course, anybody who has a criminal mind, they're going to be honest enough to come back to court to see if they're going to be convicted or sent to jail or probation for minor crimes. The no call, no show in the state of California is going to be through the roof in the court system. And this young lady ended up getting probation and charged with involuntary manslaughter. This is setting a precedence where these liberal laws are allowing all types of folks to get out for minor crimes and major crimes. And then how does one define what's major versus what's minor? That is a philosophical commentary. But 27 years old, stabbed to death a 26-year-old man, and stabbed his dog to death. So she basically committed 2 homicides, because you can go to jail for animal cruelty. She ends up getting involuntary manslaughter and just no jail time and 4 years probation. And so therefore the courts are treating her manslaughter case as if it is an assault rather than a murder. So it makes you wonder, is this young lady suffering from young white female privilege? Is that part of the reason why she did not end up going to prison for second-degree murder? They walked it down to involuntary manslaughter and no jail time. I wonder if she was a person of color, 26-year-old, 27-year-old African-American woman who committed this heinous crime against a man, would she get jail time? Let alone if it was a 27-year-old black man committing this crime on a 27-year-old woman, he would definitely go to prison. So there is such variances when you go to court, and sometimes it makes you wonder, is there white male privilege that's taking place, or is there young, pretty female white privilege? This is a very interesting case. As here again, she gets no jail time for committing 2 murders. She murdered the guy she went on a date with and killed his dog by stabbing him. Very gruesome situation. It's very unfortunate. Her defense that she was in a cannabis-induced psychosis. There might be some other psychological issues that's going on with this young lady. I haven't heard many scenarios where marijuana will make you want to commit murder. Typically speaking, for a man in his middle age, marijuana has always been something that made you more relaxed, sleepy, tired, and hungry, and gives you the munchies. I haven't heard of any cases where marijuana makes you decide to commit murder and kill a human being and or his pet. So this is a very interesting commentary. She got probation, no jail time. And my question to my audience, you're seeing a lot of cases in today's time where young white females are committing heinous crimes just like everybody else. If you're familiar with the case in Miami, Florida, with the Instagram and OnlyFans model, her last name is Clinny, who ended up stabbing her Nigerian boyfriend to death. That case is going on as we speak, and there's surveillance video of her hitting him in a elevator, hitting him in her $10,000 a month condo in Miami, and we'll have to see how that particular situation plays itself out. And then you can't forget the situation with Jonathan Majors and his girlfriend, where she was chasing him down the street in New York City and was arguing and fighting with him. He tried to run away, and the city and the state of New York convicted him on 2 misdemeanor charges and has ruined his entire Hollywood career. So you have to ask yourself, is there white privilege in the court systems versus black disprivilege and are young, pretty white females given a pass on all kinds of heinous and felonious violent situations that they partake in. I think it is really, really alarming, disalarming that this young lady could commit murder, kill the young man and his dog, and not see 1 day of jail time. This makes me wonder, where are we headed in our court systems in the future, where we have such a variance on how we are convicting people for crimes. It seems to be that if you're a person of color, the restrictions and the demand and the hammer to convict you and send you to prison is extremely high. It seems as if you are white, whether it's a rich white man or a young, beautiful, pretty white woman, it seems like they have advantages that the rest of society don't have. So check this case out. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth, and in a righteous, positive, God-fearing way. Let's provide hope. HOPE, help one person every day. And we have to get away from this spectrum where when there is conflict, the decision between life and death is a very narrow, thin point. And many of our young people today are making decisions that can lead to death, or that have led to death, that will change their lives forever. In this situation too, even though Bryn got off on this case and pled to probation, she is going to have to deal with this the rest of her life. There is going to be a certain level of PTSD. Hopefully she will get as much mental health support that she possibly can, but this is not something that she is going to just be able to walk away from. This will haunt her and this circumstance and what she did forever. The same way it is going to haunt the family members of the young man who got stabbed to death. Both families lose in this situation, and we have to find a better way to love each other more so than to hate or commit heinous crimes on other human beings. We're losing our humanity and our humanness each and every day. Life can change at a blink of an eye. Thank you for listening. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.